If you're going to be selling your property because of an upcoming divorce, I do not want you to be taken advantage of by buyers who know the situation, feel that you're desperate, and therefore want to give you a lowball offer. So in this video, I'm going to share with you strategies, things that you can do, things that you should say and not say. And this video is going to be beneficial whether you're a real estate agent or whether you are a future seller. There will even be some things that you can share with your real estate agent. If this is your first time seeing this channel, I've been selling properties in San Diego for 16 years. I share a lot of tips about things that I have learned over the years, and I would love for you to subscribe. And I should also mention that if you're anywhere near the San Diego area and you're thinking about buying or selling, feel free to reach out because of course I would love to help. In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 different strategies that I really hope will help you get more money when you sell your property. And we're going to start from kind of the most simple all the way down to a kind of secret hack that I think a lot of people don't know about and are not doing. So the first one has to do with the real estate agent that you choose. I know that in a divorce sale situation, a lot of times the 2 partners or 2 ex-partners do not agree on the same real estate agent. That is the reason that courts will often recommend 3 different real estate agents. So my point with this is do not rush to agree to somebody that your partner, ex-partner recommends simply because you feel pressured. Do make sure that you personally take the time to interview that agent. And I strongly recommend that you both interview 3 different real estate agents. If you want to know what type of questions you should be asking, it is the basics. How long have you been selling properties? Approximately how many properties do you sell per year? Can we view some testimonials? Can we speak to a past client? You can throw that one if you want. Throw that one in if you want. Tell me about your experience with divorce sales. And of course, what do you recommend that we sell this property for? What do you recommend that we list this property for? What is your marketing plan? What commission are you asking for? And what amount of money can we expect to walk away with after the sale of our property? You shouldn't be signing anything without knowing the answer to all of those. The second item has to do with the time of year. So when do you actually list the property? You may not have the luxury of time based on the situation, but if you do, feel free to ask your selected real estate agent when it is best for you to get top dollar, if that's important to you, based on the timing of the year. So some markets are seasonal. In some areas, selling October through January is almost guaranteed to get you a worse price than if you just waited till February, but it really depends on the market. The next tip has to do with what you say and don't say, and also what your real estate agent says and does not say. This, in my opinion, is so important because there are listing agents out there that are airing out their clients' business and actually telling buyers agents, my clients are getting divorced. And then, of course, those buyers agents are going to go turn around, share that information with their buyers, and they're going to write worse offers than they would have if they simply didn't have that piece of information about you. Now, I do want to make the distinction that this is not about hiding material facts about the home. You do need to share all of the material facts that you know. Those are things that affect the property's use and value. So if it is like there's a leak in the roof or something, an appliance is not working, right? Anything that's going to be on your disclosures, anything that you know that's going to affect its use or value, like I said, you have to be honest and you have to share those. But I want to make the distinction between that and your personal business and what's going on in your life. Does that actually affect the use of the home in the future? No, it doesn't. So make sure that your real estate agent knows not to tell people that, and also that they have a response prepared, because what's going to happen if they're not prepared is that in the open house, if you've priced it right, a bunch of people are coming in, they are throwing questions out quickly to the listing agent, and one of those questions may very well be, so why are the sellers selling? And it's not acceptable for the agent to just be like, just personal information, or accidentally slip into, well, they're separating, they're getting divorced. So what I do is I pick another reason that is true, that is truly affecting the move. We are not making something up. Let's say I have clients who are getting divorced and they are also moving closer to their child's school. Is moving closer to their child's school a factor? It absolutely is. And it is true to say, my clients are moving closer to their child's school. And you also don't even need to get that detailed. You can say they're moving to another house. They're moving closer to family. They've decided to move, right? You can use any of those things that are true and will not affect the price that the buyer is going to offer, if you get where I'm going with that. Now, our last trick is maybe a little bit controversial, but I think it's something that you should consider and at least talk about with your agent and or stager. So you're probably familiar with just the general process of staging and how it often helps home sellers get more money for their property. Now, it's typically done, full staging is often done if the property is vacant. But let's talk about the situation where somebody is listing the ex-couple is listing the property because they're getting divorced. Maybe by the time that they're going on the market, one of those two people has already moved out of the home. If there is an imbalance in the masculine feminine energy, let's say, of the items that are in the home, some people will start to notice. So I'm just using this as an example, right? It doesn't really matter like who the couple is or what type of couple or whatever, but let's just say there is only a man in the home at the time that photos are taken and at the time that you're listing the property. There's only masculine clothing in the closet. So then buyers and buyer's agents are going to walk through and they're going to notice that and they're going to say, this is a pretty big house for one dude. And that may kind of lead them to those questions, or that may lead them to kind of like have that suspicion and then write a worse offer. So there is nothing wrong with, in my opinion, bringing in some feminine-ish items to kind of balance that energy in a gentle staging. So I'm talking about maybe there are 2 nightstands on each end of the bed and one has a bunch of men's items and the other is completely empty. That doesn't really visually look good anyway. Why not bring in some books and a candle, different things like that, or even some women's clothing in a closet if you so choose. Of course, that's up to you, but all I'm saying is just make sure that however you stage the home doesn't make the items in the home pop, because the goal is not for people to focus on the items in the home or who is living in the home. The goal is for people to focus on the home itself, its potential, and seeing themselves live there. So I hope that at least gives you something to consider. Let me know what questions you have in the comments below. Feel free to send some questions or comments, what you think about it. And then, of course, if you have a private situation that you have questions about, especially if you're in San Diego, feel free to send me your message. And thanks so much for listening. Thanks for your time.